edition of Trails of Doom. Today we're going to talk about the mind game. And I went last year. It was by far the most intense paintball experience of my life. Some of the things to consider when you're playing in a mine is, A, it's dark. And I don't mean dark like dark when you turn the lights off in your house or when you go outside at night. I mean dark like you wave your hand in front of your face and you can't see your hand waving. It's that dark. So every player has to bring a flashlight with them. This year I'm general in the green team, and green team, you can buy lights that are green. I've got one here on my gun, and you can also buy white lights. Green team will be using green lights, so go ahead and order some. I got mine on eBay from China. They were cheap. They're like 20 bucks. If you buy that kind, make sure you order batteries at the same time. It takes a while to get them. You're getting really close to not having enough time if you try to order them now. I don't know if they get in time. So your better source would be to buy them off Amazon or somewhere like that where you're getting them from somewhere here in the States. I found that Hong Kong typically ships faster than China stuff ships, so take that into consideration. I ordered mine back when I first found out about the game and signed up so that I would be ready for it. But then let's talk about what type of lights you need. I always run mine on my gun. Last year I ran it on my A5 up on my top rail, and my hopper was right here. And every time I turned my light on, I'd lose my night vision because the light would hit the hopper and blind me. So you want to make sure you get your light as far forward as possible and not in front of something that's going to reflect. I've got my white light down here underneath, and so if it hits the gun, which it will, it'll hit on the bottom side back here where I won't see it. It won't blind my night vision. And that's something you want to consider when you're setting up your gun. Next thing is they have pressure switches that you can get. There are the cheap single pressure switches where if you press it, it goes on, but only when you press it. And then they have the higher end pressure switches, which is what I have on my gun. And that is, if you just touch down here, it goes on. If you press up here, it goes on and stays on. Okay? So I've got them on both sides. This is the green side, and this is the white side, so that I can easily just, hit what I want. This way, if somebody's shooting at me, I can just pop a green light and they'll know, oh, that's green team, don't shoot your own guys. And then if I don't want to let people know which I am, I can just run on the white light. And the white light's a lot brighter, so when you're shooting at somebody in the mine, you have to remember it's so dark that any light, even just a little bit of light, will give you enough light to see. I ordered these also from China. These are little things that you stick inside balloons, and then they make the balloon light up, and I bought a bunch of these for the green team. And we can use these for different things, but they're a great little light just to have with your gear, so that if you're out in the mine and you don't want everybody to see you, you can carry it in your hand and you can open it up and see, but you can easily turn it off and you can easily just carry it with you. And they're little button LEDs, and who cares if you lose it? They were only a couple bucks. Next thing, if you're trying to film in the mine, you can't really see anything that's going on. I'll try to film, but I probably won't bring my zoom cams this year because it's just kind of pointless. But it is, like, the experience is so crazy, it's hard to describe to people. When you're playing, you literally, it's almost like a bat is the only thing I can describe it as. You're playing and it's totally black, you can't see anything. And somebody will pop a light on for an instant. They'll just flash a light. And it's like you have sonar. Your mind sees the entire area that's lit up by that light and remembers where everything is. And then you'll start running across to different spots because you just saw that whole area just for an instant, but now you have like a sonar map in your head and you can follow it. Until you experience it, it's hard to describe, but it's really cool. Another thing you want to keep in mind, typically when you play paintball, you hutter up into the corners and you try to duck around obstacles to shoot at people. When you're playing in pitch black, you can walk dead to the center of the mine shaft, and these are wide mine shafts, like 25, 30 feet wide. And you can walk right in the middle of it and shoot at people, and as long as you don't turn a light on and nobody else turns a light on, nobody will know you're there. I literally last year stood in the middle and just sat there shooting at guys. When they'd come in, I'd shoot at them and take them out. And they kept shooting back at the corners because that's where they expected me to be. But I was dead center in the middle of the mine, just standing there. And because it's so dark, you don't know until somebody lights you up, and then all of a sudden you've got to run and move. But the cool thing is, you can just take a step or two to the right or to the left, and they'll shoot where you just were, and now you're safe even though you're behind nothing. It's really quite an extraordinary way to play. I played with my A5 last year, and I also played mag-fed with my 98 Custom. One thing you want to keep in mind, you are playing in complete darkness. So you need to practice loading your gun, you need to practice cleaning your barrel out, you need to practice, if you're playing mag-fed, getting mags out, putting them in your gun, getting it all ready to fire. All of those things in complete darkness, because literally you're playing in an environment where you can't see, and if you do turn on your light, you'll get shot at. So it's a really cool way to play. I've done a new map for us for this year. I'll be putting this online. I just drew it out from last year's map. So the mine hasn't changed, but talking to the organizers, they're going to open up more of the mine than we used last year to play. There are some areas with water, but we're going to be playing some. This is the entrance here. These are closed off areas. They told me we are going to be playing in some of these areas down here. So what I've done is I've numbered the different corridors for my team so that we can easily communicate and know where people are and what's going on and how to get more people to that area. Radios, if you're using a, where's my radio? Oh. If you're using a high-end radio, they work pretty well, and we'll be talking more about it on the Green Team Facebook page. We'll have a communication schedule where we'll do all of the different communications with our team, and that way, in paintball, communication is what wins games. I mean, you literally, the better you communicate and know what's going on and where you need troops and are able to send troops to those areas to back up a team, that's how you win paintball games, especially scenario games like this. Now, I don't know if you've ever played a true scenario. Most big games and scenario play today are just go out and shoot people, and maybe there'll be an objective going on, but only if you know the general and you're part of his little group of players that he works with. That's not how this game works. This game is a true scenario where you have timed objectives, and each team gets the objectives at game time. So right before the game starts, they'll say, okay, this is what you have to do. This is your time limit to do it. You're starting in 10 minutes. That's how it works. And it's really cool because, A, the scoring is live. I mean, as soon as the event's over, you know for that particular scenario exactly what your score was and where you are position-wise in the scenario for the full time, so who's going to win. Second, it allows you to strategize. So if you find out, for instance, last year we had, it was the Raiders of the Lost Ark, so we had different scenarios based on that series. So we had an Ark of the Covenant, and we had to go find the Ark of the Covenant in the mine. Okay, so out in the mine there was a lantern, and underneath the lantern there was a map, and the map showed the Ark location. So I found the map and the piece, and we went and found the Ark. Okay, now by finding the Ark, the next thing you had to do was go all over the mine and find different objects that they had hidden all through the mine and place them inside the Ark. Now the strange thing about the Ark was you could move it, but you had to have 4 players touching each corner of the Ark to carry it, and they all had to be holding it at the same time. You couldn't actually just walk up and pick it up. So you had 4 players that were doing it. You had to find it. You had to find the piece to find the map to find it, and do all of these things as a group while the other team is trying to keep you from finding it and shooting you and taking your team out and your friendly fire and your own team and all of the craziness that goes on with playing paintball in the dark. So that's why I thought this year with lights it'll be a lot easier to at least differentiate between teams. The red team will be using red lights if they are astute enough to go ahead and get them. The next thing is we had to find all these things, put them inside the Ark, and then you got points for every single piece that was in the Ark. We cleared the mine out. We got the organizers told us we found every single piece that they hid in the mine, and then they had to go out and re-hide them for the next game. Well, because they did the next game and it was just the reverse, the other team had to find the arc. So what we did is we were like, okay, we've got to find their arc first and not let them get to it. Because if we can keep them from getting their arc, they can't put any pieces inside of it, ergo they get no points. And I mean, it was a lot of points because we found a ton of treasure to put inside that. So as soon as the game started, we had runners all over our field, all over the map, looking for the arc to try to find it before the other team found it. And we found it. As soon as we found it, we had guys come back. We had guys guarding it. We had guys come back. I was one of the group that came back, and we got everybody on our team, and we just surrounded that arc, and we held them off for the entire 30-minute game and didn't allow them to even touch their own arc. We weren't allowed to move it, but we protected it so that they couldn't get to it and gave them 0 points. And that was one of the biggest reasons why we won that game last year, was because we got so many points from that particular scenario, and then they got 0 points for that particular scenario because we kept them from the arc. So that's the difference between scenario play and a typical big game play where you're just running out and shooting people. It's a lot more fun because there's challenges, and you have to on the cuff just figure out what's the best way to achieve whatever goal you're trying to do at the time. So if you've never played the mine, you need to make sure you have light. Okay, you can carry a flashlight. Having it on your gun's a lot easier. Make sure it's really far forward. Make sure it's not reflecting off anything on your gun. You can get different mounts that allow it to up and down. I'm running 2 lights. You can run 1 light. You can just do white. You're only allowed to do the color of the team you're on. So if you're on the red team, you can only use a red light or a white light. You can't use a green light. If you're on the green team, same thing. You can only use the green light. You can't use a red light. So if you buy prop lights and things like that, you can only use the colors of your team. If you try to use the other team's colors, they'll get confiscated because obviously that's cheating. When you're playing in the mine, it's 250 FPS. You've got to buy your paint now on their website so that it's there at the mine. If you don't buy it, they probably won't have enough for you. So make sure you buy your paint in advance. It's field paint only this year. I used glow in the dark last year. It didn't work that well. It just wasn't. The idea was really cool. Tracer rounds, you could see them. When it would hit the wall, it would glow. But the paint was just horrible. I spent hours cleaning it because it was so many were broken when I got it. And then they were just so misshaped that it didn't go where you were shooting at all. So they're using good, fresh paint. It should be really good paint. 250 FPS, backspin systems will definitely help in the mine because the ceilings aren't real high and you can't really lob paint, but you're not shooting that far typically. So, you know, typically you're going from one shaft to the next shaft of the mine. You're not going 2 and 3 shafts down. Now that if you are going straight down, you can get in firefights where you're shooting pretty far away, and that was really fun last year. But it's really hard to see players. And when you're playing, it's an honor game, so the refs aren't walking around paint checking people because you can't see because it's so dark. So if you get hit, you're out, regardless of paint break. That's one of the different rules about playing in the mine. And obviously when you're playing paintball and you feel it, you know you're hit, so you just raise your hand and go out. When you go back out, typically in this game, it'll depend on each scenario, but typically you just go back out, tag back in, and come back in again. They're all timed, and it's just a really exciting event. Another thing to talk about, masks. I typically use a mask like this for all my stuff, and I use the yellow lens. In the mine, I used the yellow lens last year, and it wasn't horrible, but you really want a clear lens. So the clear lens is a lot better because you can just see easier. I also run a fan inside my mask because you're working in a cave underground. So if you're running around and you get all stressed out and your adrenaline starts going, you're going to start fogging up. So you really want to make sure you have some type of fan or some way to get rid of that fog in your mask. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting outside. There is a layer of dust all through the mine because we're going to be walking around stirring it up. The ground's all like real soft, like not gravel, but like real thin, powdery, almost sand. So when you start walking around in it, it just stirs up dust. So guns like my Tippmann A5, you want to cover up with tape the area on the cyclone feeder where the air sucks back in, because that'll get filled up with dirt and your cyclone will quit working. Mine lasted about half the day and then it went down, and that's why I switched to MagFed. I wouldn't play MagFed anyway, but that's when I switched. Other things, let's see, make sure you wear good boots. There are a couple drop-offs. They're only maybe, you know, that high, maybe 18 inches or something. And they told me that this year they're going to have lights on those specific things so that you can see them. Last year there were no lights, so you just had to remember, okay, there's a drop-off up here, don't fall. Let's see, if somebody gets injured, last year somebody fell over a skid that had fallen over, and they stopped the game real quick, got him out, he was fine. And then they started the game up again right away. So just pay attention to stuff like that going on. If you have any questions, you can email or message below on the video, and I'm more than welcome to answer whatever I know. The organizers won't tell us what type of games they're going to play, but they did say this year we can use shields, 10 per team. So we need to make sure the green team has 10 shields. And 40 inches by 24 inches is the maximum size. Or I think it was 36 inches round. You'll have to look on their site and see what the restrictions are. They can't be, you can't see through them. They have to be solid coated, no plexiglass. But you can make them out of all kinds of different materials. So we want to make sure we have those, because if somebody gets our arc and we have to get in there and get it, if we had had shields last year, that would have really helped. I mean, the other team probably could have got in if they had had shields and been able to move up with them. So we definitely want to make sure we have those. There are going to be characters in this game. This is Mines of Moria, which is Lord of the Rings based. So, you know, you'll have your, they'll probably have a prop ring. They'll probably have, they already have characters mentioned, like Legolas and different characters from the movie that you can pick to be, and you get a special sword if you're doing certain characters, and you'll have special powers to be able to do things, and they'll have them on both the Fellowship of the Ring, which is my team, and they'll also have them on the other team, which will be orcs and goblins and ogres and stuff like that. And those just bring a fun, different way to play the game. So I'm really excited about this game. It's March 5th. It's Mines of Moria, and it's inside an actual mine underground. It's one of the coolest places I've ever played paintball. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go there and play, and this is my second year doing it, so I get to do it twice. They've been doing it, this is the third year, I believe, so people have played there twice before. So if you have any questions, ask in the comments, but thanks for watching. I hope this gives you a little primer of what's to come, and it'll be a fun time. Thanks. See ya.